Hey, what's going on, guys? Josh from My Baby Detailing here. Today, we're working on this really sun-faded Mini Cooper. This particular Mini Cooper has been sitting outside in the sun for several years. It didn't run for 4 years. Now, the new owner's got it up and running and really just wants it looking good. So today, we're going to be doing a little bit of polishing on it just to remove some of the sun scorching, sun fading that might have damaged the paint to restore this thing back to good condition. So as you can see here, we just completed our first initial cut using GYEON compound with a GYEON eccentric cut pad, and it just didn't do enough. So what we need to do now is we're going to go in with a more aggressive compound on that same pad and see if we can get some of this swirling out. If you can see from the camera there, we have all sorts of micro abrasions and swirling all through this entire rear quarter panel. And while the initial cut removed a good amount of scratches and a lot of that fading up top, it definitely still needs some more work. So we're going to go to a more aggressive cut, and then we're going to kind of work our way back up the scale. Like we talked about earlier, this vehicle in particular was really just damaged from sun scorching. It sat outside for 4 years in a field on a farm. And just really the sun just beat down on it, really damaged those horizontal panels, anything that's kind of that flat facing surface towards the sun, which is why you don't notice as much of that scuffing and fading down towards the bottom of the car. Now, on this vehicle in particular, obviously the main goal is to remove as much of that fading and less so much worried about scratching. This vehicle is going to a 16-year-old girl who we just want to make sure has a nice clean vehicle at the end of the day. Part of what goes into this process of polishing and cleaning the vehicle is we do all the prep work. So we're going to go ahead and do a 2-bucket hand wash. We fully decontaminate and clay bar the car prior to any of this happening. This process is kind of the last step before a wax that we will apply on the exterior of the vehicle. But what we want to do is we want to make sure that that paint is as good a condition as possible when it leaves here and goes back to the customer. So now what you can see here is I've got my tool, or my hands, a tool called a micrometer. So what this does is this measures the paint thickness all the way from the top of the clear coat to the top of the base metal. So it's going to measure the primer, the paint, and the clear coat. We can make some educated guesses about the thickness of each layer of the paint, but what this is going to tell us is how much clear coat we have remaining to kind of polish off and work with. On the high side of this car up top here, we still have a little bit of thickness, measuring about 1 to 1.5 mils of clear coat remaining. Down here towards the bottom, we get a little bit thinner, running a little bit less than 1/1000th of an inch of clear coat. So not a whole lot of margin for error. So unfortunately, a situation like this, well, we're going to be able to get a lot of the gloss returned. Some of the scratching is still going to be remaining when it's all said and done. But for this customer in particular, the #1 priority is the gloss. So what we're going to do now is we're going to kind of work our way back up the scale, get a lot of this upper portion finished polishing out, and go ahead and get the gloss returning to this car.